Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Sam. This is Bolt from the Blue. Here we like stories, and I'm going to tell you a good one. I've got a couple of decks here. First we got Tarot of the Divine, and then we got Paradise Found. This is an Oracle deck. So we'll see what they have to say for you. Okay, this is random, but I'm being asked to relay an anecdote before we get into this. The other day I was walking through the woods, and I came to a spot where there is a very sacred tree, and next to it there is a bench. And it's at the bottom of a gently sloping hill. And at the time that I arrived there in the late afternoon, the sun was lazily sinking down, and it was sort of at the top of this hill. And I'm at the bottom, and I'm looking up past the bench towards the sun, and the hill is covered in pine trees. So it already does something a little bit strange to the depth perception as you look through a forest, a pine forest in particular, something about the spacing of the trees. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and the sky is full of these, some white clouds, some gray clouds, and some quite like steel gray clouds that are dropping a little bit of rain. But I haven't encountered it raining on my entire walk. And as I'm looking up the hill, I'm like, what is that coming between the trees? Is that like pollen? What is that? And I realized that with the way that the sun is shining through, what I'm seeing is rain. That this is like 20 feet from me. And it's raining decently hard, like 20 feet from me. But where I'm stood, it's not raining, and it never did. I got like 5 or 6 drops on the entire bench. But I was seeing sheet rain fall 20 feet from me. And it was just this moment of feeling very lucky, looking through a sun shower, seeing the rain, but realizing, oh, wow, it's never going to reach me. And then, and I kid you not, I turned around to sit down on the bench, and maybe 5 seconds after I sat down, I'm looking in the complete opposite direction, and a little gray feather, like a poofy little gray feather, floats down from the top right of my vision, from some tree branch, right across my vision, all the way down bottom left. It just drifts through the air. And I was like, whoa. It was also on a day when I had seen the craziest amount of angel numbers. If you don't do this already, ask in the morning of each day, if you can remember. Ask your team, your guidance, God, Spirit, Source, whoever you talk to in the spirit realm, ask them to show you today, or for the next 24 hours, all of the signs, symbols, synchronicities, meaningful messages, divine luck, and miracles that they can along your path, and to have them convey messages for your highest good. And things will blow up. Like, there's a definite difference on the days when I ask for this and the days when I forget in the amount that I see. I still get sent these things all the time, but sometimes on the days when I ask for them, it's just a complete bonanza. Anyway, went a little long there. We're gonna hop into some tarot, see what the starting energy is here. Ace of Cups. Look at that. This one. Are we just doing the one card from this deck? Yeah, okay. Do we want to pull from here? Yes, okay. Paradise Found is what we're hopping to next. Number 16, Peace. Quite a lot of angels, angelic beings in this drawing. I hope the lighting is good enough for this to not be sort of a Where's Waldo pastel mishmash. If it is, I hope it's a beautiful one, because the card is anything else from here. Okay, we're going back to this deck. Eight of Cups. Got the Ace of Cups and the Eight of Cups. Any more from here? Okay, I think this is it. Thanks for bearing with me, guys, as I figure out where these go. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the order. We've got Peace first. Do we want to read from the book for this? No. Okay. So I think the reason I told this story, the story about the rain, the bench, the feather, if you haven't already, you're going to be given some sort of taste of the numinous. Like there will be some sort of divine occurrence. And it will just be like, it will sort of floor you. It will be one of those faith-affirming moments where you're like, I cannot deny the divinity of this. I cannot deny the synchronicity of it. It's like, it's so, like, maybe you were so guided to it. Maybe it's the culmination of a lot of different events. Some of them guided, perhaps. Perhaps it just involves so many people, or like little happenings. It's going to be different for all of you, but it's going to give you this otherworldly occurrence kind of energy. And this can even be ecstasy within you, right? what ecstasy actually means is this sublimation into something larger, into the infinite. Into a higher power, into like the numinous, an ecstatic experience, something almost like out of body crazy. You know, it's going to be wildly different for different folks listening to this. This could be something like an experience you have with a psychedelic, just with this energy, right? Or this could be internal visions that you're having, even internal visions that have this sort of texture to them. Maybe parts of them are coming true in reality. Anyway, I've gone a little bit long on this. You can tell how much I love this energy, because it's also very angelic, like it's very high frequency, this energy, which I really dig. I also do think that peace here is a factor for all of you. And you might be like, Sam, I was literally crying my eyes out and laughing during a psychedelic trip. And it's like, that's cool too. You know, that's a kind of perfect bliss, right? That, which can be quite peaceful. It's this sublimation in something greater where you realize that everything that you've been thinking about has been so petty, right? Like all of your concerns so silly in comparison to the perfect peace of the ever-present now, and the perfect okayness of truly everything in this world and every other. That only as a sullen separation, only as a small self do we see things as topsy-turvy or good or bad or right or wrong. Yeah. And the piece of that higher perspective, even if we're only in it for a second, only if we're subsumed into it for a fleeting moment, I'm getting that it's going to be longer than that. Yeah. I'm so happy about this for you. Like if this were the whole reading, that would be great. But it's also leading you to something greater in your larger life. It's hard to stay in this energy, and in some ways it can be actually it's one of the things that we have to navigate in a human experience. There's actually books about this. About the kind of mystical, ecstatic experiences that we can have, and then returning to our everyday lives. And it's like, how do we bring what seems like such a polarity into our everyday lives? How do we move forward once we've had this experience? There's a book called The Ecstasy and Then the Laundry. That's about this concept. But it's leading you to this Eight of Cups, which is great. Do we want to read for either of these in the book? Okay, maybe for the Ace of Cups, but I'll just say with this Eight of Cups, I don't know the story off the top of my head, but the Eight of Cups is about leaving behind just okay to actually pretty good, usually, experiences or options in search of something that suits the soul better. So each of, some of these could be poor options, and you're just like, no, I wouldn't have taken that no matter what. But especially after having this experience of the numinous, this mystical experience, this heightened, I just keep getting pulled into this card. After this, there's some sense in which you're like, I can't unsee that, right? I can't unexperience that. And it has changed what I'm looking for. It has changed the way I view the world, if only subtly, right? Enough to say, like, I now recognize that perhaps what's in each of these cups would sustain me for a lifetime, but it wouldn't, it might only help me survive when I would like to thrive. Or my soul would always feel this restlessness, this call to something higher or better or different or more aligned or more authentic, right? Because these experiences rarely come without takeaways, as long as you take the time to integrate them, right? The universe is really good at making something, especially something divinely aligned, divinely synchronistic, making these experiences have layers to them, to mean more than one thing. So I feel like this is you getting this taste of the numinous, and if not having conscious takeaways that you can write down in a list, it's giving you some positive contrast, right, to what you possibly would have settled for before, or what you would have just not known. I'm getting a little off base here. This might even be spiritual. So you might have, like, I'm not saying this is going to happen to any of you, but one example would be like you have a near-death experience, right? I don't wish this on anyone, obviously. This is just an example purely, but it's like you have a near-death experience and you see things in that experience that you're like, hang on, I don't believe in angels, but I'm seeing a whole lot of angels, you know? Or a family member comes to you and with a bunch of, like, I don't know, Christian symbolism or something, and you're like, I'm not Christian. What's happening here? But it might put you on a new course to exploring different aspects of spirituality or of your soul, of the Akashic records, whatever. It just might provide you with a flavor that you didn't think you liked, but you're like, I could stand some more of that. Or just broadens your mind, even if you're like, I still don't think that's for me. There's a little bit of a setting out on a journey of exploration here. But with the staff and the cape, it just feels very like Dune, hermit energy. The hermit walks the path of the sage, by the way. You can do a lot worse than the hermit. And we got this Ace of Cups. We still want to read from the book? Yeah, cool. Let's see what it has to say. think this is the character for Joe. Like, let's see though. Ace of Cups. This is a hard card to find in here. Here it is. Matsuo Sake, Japanese mythology. The Ace of Cups marks a new beginning, a reason to drink and be merry and to open up to subconscious feelings. Sake is a drink of the gods, bringing people closer to the spirit world. Happiness, love, intimacy, new emotions, compassion. Well, that's great. You know? It's definitely emphasizing the new beginning energy here. But yeah, there's some cup you've been drinking from and you just tune in and you're like, ugh, blah. I'm never going to drink anything like this again, you know? And it starts in it brings in a new energy. Because your tastes have changed, like what you're willing to drink has changed. You're like, drink and be merry. Sam, for me, this was about, seeing this, having this experience that told me I shouldn't drink alcohol anymore. And that's what's bringing in the new beginnings. It's like, okay, well, that's cool too. Then this isn't about drinking for you, not drinking alcohol. It's about, drinking a seltzer instead. And as you drink it, feeling merry because you feel free instead of constrained by, let's say, if it's an addiction, right? When we free ourselves from something like that, the horizons all of a sudden broaden. And there's lots of things that can be addictive, including emotional or relational patterns. But when we free ourselves from them, the horizon broadens. There's so much more we can do. And it takes in, like, it removes old energies that were blocking happiness, love, new and heightened intimacy, whether that's with another person or with yourself, with the divine, right? With spirit, a new closeness, new emotions, and compassion. Yeah, especially if we're leaving behind some sort of pattern, person, place, ideas, addictions, anything. This can be anything. If we're leaving behind something that was numbing us out in any fashion, or just that was comfortable without being radically fulfilling. After we do that, after we stop numbing, we can feel a lot of emotions that we didn't think we felt as an adult even, right? We can just be like, oh, well, I haven't felt the depths of love for another person for a really long time. And I think that's just like part of being an adult. Maybe adults just don't feel this as fully. And it's like, no. Like, you've been numb to love for a really long time, if that's the case, right? And when we have these experiences of the numinous, whether it be from psychedelics or something else, you ask people, what was it like? Like what, so you experienced God. What is God? And they're like, love, you know? They just come back from this journey, from this experience saying, love is the most fundamental thing. It's fundamental to the universe, and that they understand that more fully now in an embodied way, right? It makes way for the numinous. And more experiences of the numinous, because it allows us to heal as well. And the more we heal, the more we heal our ancestral line, the more spiritual gifts open up to us, the closer we are to spirit as we continue to heal on a spiritual journey and a healing journey. And the more gifts open up, and the closer we are to spirit, and it's this virtuous upswing, this virtuous spiraling upwards rather than spiraling downwards like he used to do. Yeah, I just feel like saying in summation that we're spiraling up together, guys. We're making new choices, divinely inspired choices. Because we've seen too much, right? These experiences will change you. We can pretend like they didn't happen, but they happened. How do you move forward knowing that that was real for you? Very positively is how I would say this reading is suggesting. Ace of Cups doesn't get much better. What a great reading. Any other cards? No, that's it. Thanks for joining me today, guys. If this hasn't already happened to you, what a wonderful thing. Enjoy your numinous experience and your closeness to the divine, to spirit. Yeah, I'm just holding space for that and hoping that it's as beautiful as the energy that's coming through on my end to affirm that it will be. You are so deeply loved. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, do like, subscribe, comment. I would really love comments, especially if this has already happened to you. Others' experiences of the divine, even when recounted through brief anecdotes, can bring us closer to the divine. And that feels like a good way to bookend it. I will see you guys in the next one.